Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Wrap, brought to you by Michigan Medicine Headlines. I'm Dan Ellman with the Department of Communication. Today, we promise you that this will be a high-quality episode as we give you a preview of a very unique Quality Month celebration set to take place throughout October. Before we get into that conversation, be sure to go back and check out any previous episodes of The Wrap you may have missed. You can find them on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any other podcast hosting platform. The newest episodes can also be found on YouTube, and no matter whether you watch them or listen to them, the podcasts are always a part of the Headlines Week in Review. All right, let's bring in today's guests, Jamie Lindsay and Kevin DeHorty. They are both continuous improvement specialists who serve as co-chairs of the Quality Month Planning Committee. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Dan.
Now, Quality Month activities have been taking place for years, but how did the program change this year because of COVID-19?
This year, we wanted to continue to offer the same types of breakout sessions and development that we normally offer at our symposium event. However, we know that there's this thing called Zoom fatigue. And so we didn't want people to have to be on a Zoom call all day long in order to get our content. So we opted to plan events that occur on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 12 to 1:30 so that people can tune in to those events and learn about all the topics that we have this year.
Yeah, I agree, Jamie. That is one of the best parts about the flexibility that we have this year is that we can spread it out across the month. And we're also not limited by the number of people that can attend. Typically we're restrained by space. This year, people can register and we're only limited by Zoom, which is 300. And if we can get 300 for every single session that we have going this year, which is 11 across the month of October, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's an ambitious goal. And if you get those 300, what can those attendees expect? What kind of sessions do you have planned?
We have, so every day is a different track. So on Tuesdays, we're going to be focusing on our theme this year, which is social determinants of health and healthcare equity. On Wednesdays, we will be hosting a virtual poster sharing event because we still want to utilize Quality Month to celebrate the amazing work that the faculty and staff are doing in quality improvement in our health system. And then on Thursdays, we will be hosting what's called Back to Basics series, where each week we'll be highlighting a quality improvement tool so attendees can come and learn about that tool and also do an activity.
Now, Kevin, I know a lot of times the highlight of Quality Month is the poster session, and with COVID-19 and social distancing and everything in effect, it's going to be a virtual poster session this year. Can you talk a little bit about what that poster session will look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, we were thrilled when we got 78 posters that we were able to accept to Quality Month this year. We get around 80 on average each year. So the fact that we were right there in the same ballpark is just amazing. And in fact, when we reflect on it, it may be even more important to be concentrated on ways to improve this year than past years with all the changes and challenges that people have been facing. So all 78 of those posters will be on our website, and there will be an embedded audio file into each of those posters where the people that did the work are going to be sharing their story with you on demand. So anytime you want to go in there and take a listen, you'll be able to do that, not only throughout the month of October, but beyond. And then over the course, as Jamie said, on Wednesdays each week in October, from 12 to 1:30, we'll be highlighting 5 to 6 stories where people have agreed to come in and share their work live through Zoom, where you'll have an opportunity to ask them questions and just learn from each other, right, and celebrate that great work. So we're looking forward to it. It's different. It's new. Like I said, we can have a lot more people hearing the stories all together, and we'll be able to highlight some things a little differently versus just everybody being together in one room. Don't make a mistake. We'd rather that be happening. However, we're trying to make the best of this current situation. We think there's some good stuff that can come from it.
And I love that it still, provides the opportunity for interaction, right? And to ask questions and to dive deeper into these posters.
And also, one of the things that we hear year after year is that people enjoy being able to interact with our leaders at Michigan Medicine. And so, even though our event is virtual this year, we have still taken consideration and steps to continue to engage with leadership and to include them in the poster sharing sessions. So I think it's really great when people get to share their work with their leaders, and so we want to continue that tradition.
Yeah, that's great. Now, Jamie, is there a theme for this year, and if so, how was it chosen?
Yeah, so this year the theme is health equity. And so, there are 6 domains of quality: safety, timeliness, effectiveness, efficiency, equitability, and patient centeredness. And so, our team felt like, we talk a lot about 5 of those, but not so much about the 6th one, which is health equity. And so we wanted to really highlight that this year. And we found that it was actually a very timely decision because we know that with COVID, it really has shined a light on the disparities that various populations experience as it relates to healthcare, health access, as well as outcomes. So we're really excited to, even though they're not actually 2 separate fields of a study, we tend to think about them as 2 different fields of study. And so we're excited to be able to see how the intersection of equity and quality improvement can come together, and how we as a health system can begin to work on these things, because we know that only 20% of a person's health is actually occurring with it or impacted by what happens in the health system. The other 80% is what happens on the outside of the health system. And so we're excited to begin having that conversation of how we can start including these concepts as we do our quality improvement work.
Yeah, I think that's great. Now with so many, varied types of sessions and speakers and things like that, I'd like to get the perspective of both of you. What are you most looking forward to during Quality Month?
Yeah, I can start. One, I'm personally excited to grow my knowledge in the space that Jamie just spoke of, because like she said, it's not something that we've had a lot of direct discussion around. Now, Jamie's the exception. This has been a passion for her for a long time. And so it's really cool to see her be able to bring that in. And like she said, it's such a timely, it's just so timely for everything that's going on. And then, the poster session, the last one on October 28th, you might want to circle that one on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
A couple cool things are happening there. One, we have 5 exemplar posters that have been picked by our Quality Council and our Quality Month Planning Committee. So amongst the 78 posters, there's 5 that have been designated as exemplar. And that's just to help people see what better looks like, what are some really great outcomes that teams are able to achieve. And they'll all be sharing their work on October 28th. And one quick interesting thing is, in the past, we've had one winner that's been declared during Quality Month. But this year, we're letting the 5 exemplars shine for what they are. There was a lot of discussion around, one winner and 77 losers, right? And that's not really what this is about. This is about sharing work, learning from each other, seeing what better looks like, what you can aspire towards. And so all 5 of those folks have reached that sort of highest honor through our Quality Month process. And then the same thing that on October 28th, we'll also have an inaugural Jack Billy Award for inspiring quality improvement. Mm-hmm. So Jack Billy is retiring this year. He's been, a mentor to many of us. He's done arguably more for improvement across the institution than any, at least arguably. And so he's definitely worthy of an award named after him. And we'll be announcing sort of the honoree this year, where we got over 30 nominations. So that'll be really exciting.
And, I'm excited about all of it. What I really love about Quality Month is just how committed our organization is to not only investing in developing their faculty and staff. And so to be able to offer content that helps that helps people learn and grow in their quality improvement or their knowledge of how to best take care of patients. But I also really love that we get to celebrate the amazing work that our faculty and staff do every day to improve care at Michigan Medicine. And I think It's just an incredible opportunity to really celebrate that. I always think about Dr. Billy's, he kind of has this catchphrase where he says 20,000 problem solvers at Michigan. And so every year when we have this event, it's really cool to see that goal that he's always had come to life. And that, even though we only have, or I shouldn't say only, we have 78 posters, each of those posters represent, 5, 6, maybe even 10 people who work together on a project. So I think that's just really incredible. So that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. Now, if people want to attend any of these events, how can they register?
This year, we are not requiring people to register. It's a single link, Zoom link that they can access through our website or through Headlines. But we do have a sign up to receive additional communications. And so I would encourage everyone to go to our website to sign up to get those communications. We're going to be sending out a weekly newsletter. So we won't bombard you with mail if you sign up, but we will have a weekly newsletter that goes out that kind of highlights what's coming up, but also includes links to the recordings of the sessions that we do. So if you can't tune in live, you will be able to access a recording.
And there's also some additional registration perks. Although Jamie just said you're not registering, so don't take that wrong. But if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll have the links to like the evaluations. So at the end of each session, there'll be an opportunity to give us some quick feedback, which we always take to heart. But that also is going to register you for a book giveaway. That each session, there'll be someone that will earn a book of their choice. So we'll have a few options for those individuals. And in addition to that, if people attend all of one track, or for instance, the Back to Basics series or the Social Determinants of Health. So if they attend all of the series, they'll be getting a certificate that will sort of show that they've committed that time to learn about all of the different things that people are sharing. And, the Back to Basics probably didn't get enough airtime from us that it deserves. They've worked really hard to help people learn some really cool quality improvement tools that they can use every single day to help improve their processes. And we're going to be able to connect that to kind of a bigger model that we've developed in terms of different roles people can play to support that improvement across the institution.
And the Back to Basics series, what I really love about it is that they are the topics are based on the things that we as coaches have heard our customers and our organizations say that they've struggled with. So data collection, sustainment, topics like that seem to be
root cause
a little more difficult to navigate. And so we wanted to give our organization something that could help them sort of dive a little deeper into those topics.
Yeah. And so our tagline, Dan, is a month to connect, share, and learn. We thought that was really applicable, not only to the tracks, right? We're trying to connect people to resources, sharing great stories, and learning new things that we can apply. But it's not often that we get a chance to just really celebrate, highlight, and share. And that's just really what we're excited about.
Yeah, well, that's outstanding. Thank you so much, Kevin and Jamie, for sharing these details. If you want to learn even more about the Quality Month celebration, including the full schedule of events throughout October, go to mmheadlines.org. That's mmheadlines.org. While you're there, you could check out other featured stories from this week. For instance, infection prevention and epidemiology was highlighted, a small team that has taken center stage throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. You could also find information on the new valuation process for fiscal year 21, and you can see just how powerful the Michigan medicine community can be as faculty and staff came together to assist food gatherers during a recent food drive. Find all that and more at mmheadlines.org. All right, it's time for the weekly trivia contest. Last episode, we asked listeners to name one of the features of the organization's new recognition website. Congratulations to Claire Kolivar, who responded with e-cards. Claire, a member of the Department of Communication, will be in touch shortly to help you claim your prize. Now for this week's question. Who is slated to deliver the keynote address at this year's Quality Month celebration? Once again, who is slated to deliver the keynote address at this year's Quality Month celebration? You can find the answer in this week's headline story, and once you know it, send it to headlines@med.umich.edu for the chance to win a prize. It's all the time we have for this week. Thank you, Jamie and Kevin, for being here, and thank you to all of our listeners and viewers for everything you do for patients, families, and each other. We'll see you next week.